Jess Fishlock, who is arguably Wales women's greatest ever player, announced last week that she will play her final international game against Australia on Saturday. She'll bring down the curtain on an international career that has spanned nearly 2 decades and became their record goal scorer in the process as well. Let's cross to our reporter Geraint Hughes. Geraint.
Yeah, Jess is arguably one of the greatest players the game has ever witnessed, and certainly has had a huge influence on and off the pitch. Listen, you don't want to be talking to me. Let's introduce Jess Fishlock. Jess, listen, congratulations as what has been an incredible international career. I'd be here all day if I went through the amount of caps and goals you've got. First question, why? Why now?
Yeah, I think it's just the right time. You know, it's all about timing. It's the start of a new journey for us as a nation now after the Euros. And it's just not something that I could fully commit to at this time. And so when I just thought about it, I just thought this was the right time. And it's time for the group now to take Wales forward.
How much was the Euros in your mind, though? Let's go back, that major tournament, because you could have called time on an international and a club career. We'll talk about that in a moment. A lot earlier than you did, but you've kept yourself fit, you kept yourself going, you kept scoring. All about the Euros. Was it just about being with Wales at the Euros at a major tournament?
No, I think, you know, obviously getting to a major tournament was always a dream, but in truth, the biggest thing that I ever wanted was Wales to be at a point where they can compete and they can keep competing whilst I'm gone. And I think that when I look now at our group and everything that we have here in Wales for women's football, that's all I ever wanted, really. Getting to the Euros and being able to represent the nation was just icing on the cake, really.
Right, I'm going to take you back. Why football? Why football for it? Because I think it's not just a love or a religion, it's just in your DNA. Tell us why.
I think football chose me, I think. You know, I played a lot of sports when I was younger, but football was what I fell in love with from minute one. And, you know, I just couldn't imagine my life without it.
In terms of your influences, the amount of clubs, again, I'm not going to reel them all off. What's been one of the biggest influences for you, and maybe one of the top highlights? We'll take the Euros aside for Wales, but top highlights of your career, because there have been, you've done everything, Jess.
Yeah, I think, honestly, for me, it's my teammates and the people that I've met throughout my career, the players that I've been privileged enough to play with on the field, and then they're my closest friends off it. You know, it's been a big highlight for me, and they've been also my idols and inspiration too throughout it all. So I think that will be, you know, when I sit back years to come, I'll just remember the teammates that I had and how much they influenced my life.
How aware, maybe how proud are you of the influence you've had? Listen, you're playing your football at the moment, well, have done for a while in the NWSL in the United States, in Seattle. You are recognised out there as being a true great of the game. And to do that in the US, women's football, you got to go some. So what do you look back on with the greatest pride from your point of view?
Yeah, I think, honestly, just being a part of the women's football journey, really, and being able to have an impact on it, not only on the field but off the field. I think how far women's football has come, and being able to go through all the generations of that and see that and witness it and be a part of it, whilst also achieving, is just something I'll look back on and just, you know, smile about.
Last game this Saturday against Australia. How are you going to feel, do you think? I know it hasn't happened yet.
Honestly, I think when I'm on the pitch, I'm just going to want to win. I'm not going to think too much about the situation then. That's just not who I am. But I'm sure afterwards it'll be a bit emotional.
Right, Jess, I've got to ask you, and I'm going to have to do something to Jess, because we were talking just before we came on. Last week, I've known about you retiring for a while, and I was sworn to secrecy, so I was a good boy, behaved on that one. But we had to wait for Jess to post on social media. But she wasn't in the UK, she was in the States. So what, you're 8 hours behind us or something?
8.
What happened, Jess?
Well, I was asleep, and it was my off day, so I like to lie in. And so I woke up and just messaged Zoe and said, I'm not doing it at the right time. I'm doing it now because I want to go back to sleep because I'm tired.
We were all waiting for you. We were all waiting for this post, and you were still in bed.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Listen, a quick one as well before you go. The impact you've had away from the pitch. I know I've talked to you before as well, but women's football has come a massive way on and off the pitch, but also making an accessible place. You know, my two daughters come and watch football now because of you and people like you. How much is it important that you've had a voice away from football as well, and that you've said the things you've wanted to say?
Yeah, huge. I think that was the beauty of women's football, that it was created by women's footballers, really, and we were allowed to kind of shape it in a way that it would be visible, and it would be a safe place for anybody who wants to play. And I hope, one of my biggest hopes is that that continues whilst we go through this tremendous growth, that we remember fundamentally how and why it started, who and why they started it, and who we are, really.
Great stuff. Listen, Jess, thanks ever so much, and thanks for joining us on. Jess is still distinctly jet-lagged as well, so thanks so much for coming to join us. Jess Fishlock play a last game, international game now this weekend, Wales against Australia. She's still got to fulfil a contract, she said, in the States. If you do want to go and see her play after this one, we've got to go out to the States, to Seattle, to watch her. But Jess, thank you ever so much for your time. Congratulations, and thank you for everything you've done. Thank you. Well done, Jess.
Thank you. Thank you.
What a career. Thank you very much indeed, Geraint.